Welcome back to Bhagavad Gita, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Life. In our first chapter, we stood with Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We witnessed his profound despair and the complete paralysis of his will. And we heard the beginning of Krishna's divine discourse, the revelation of the eternal self, the Atma, and the introduction to Karma Yoga, the path of performing one's duty without attachment to the results. But for Arjuna, this profound wisdom has created a new layer of confusion. If knowledge and detachment are the goal, why then must he engage in the gruesome action of war? Is it not better to renounce the world and seek wisdom in solitude? His doubt sets the stage for our second chapter, the path of self-mastery. Here Krishna will illuminate the intricate relationship between action, knowledge, and meditation, providing a practical roadmap for achieving inner peace while living an active life in the world. Arjuna, his mind still reeling from Krishna's initial teachings, looks at his divine guide and voices the doubt that has troubled spiritual seekers for ages. Krishna, if you believe that intelligence and knowledge are superior to action, then why are you urging me to engage in this terrible war? My mind is confused by your seemingly contradictory words. Please tell me definitively the one path by which I may attain the highest good, Krishna. The patient begins to explain the refinements of the spiritual path. He clarifies that there are two primary paths for self-realization, based on a person's temperament. O sinless Arjuna, I've already explained that there are two classes of people who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculation, the path of knowledge, or Jnana Yoga. Others are inclined to work in devotion, the path of action, Karma Yoga. Krishna then delivers a crucial truth about the nature of existence. Inaction is an illusion. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. All men are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Here, Krishna introduces the three gunas, or modes of material nature, which we will explore in a later chapter. For now, what he means is that the universe itself is energy and movement. The body, the mind, life itself, it is all action. To simply decide to do nothing is impossible. The real choice is not whether to act, but how and why to act. He explains that one who outwardly restrains their senses, but inwardly dwells on sense objects, is a pretender. It is far better to act in the world with controlled senses and a detached mind. He then introduces the concept of acting for a higher purpose, for jnana. Work done as a sacrifice for the Supreme is not binding. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you will always remain free from bondage. The word jnana literally means sacrifice or a fire offering, a central ritual in ancient Indian culture. But Krishna uses it in a much broader, more profound sense. Action becomes jnana when it is performed selflessly. It's an offering for the welfare of the world and for the glory of the divine, without any personal gain as the motive. Krishna explains how this principle of selfless service sustains the entire cosmos. Through sacrifice, humanity nourishes the demigods, or the cosmic forces, and in turn, those forces provide rain and grain, sustaining humanity. This is the great wheel of creation, and one who does not do their part, he says, lives in vain. The purpose of our work is to uphold this cosmic cycle. He then brings the teaching back to a personal level, tells Arjuna to act like the great kings of the past, who acted for the welfare of their people. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. There is no work prescribed for me within all the three worlds, nor am I in want of anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. If I did not engage in work, O Arjuna, certainly all men would follow my path, and these worlds would be put to ruin. Here Krishna reveals his divine status. As God, he has nothing to gain, yet he acts continuously to maintain the world order. He advises Arjuna to do the same, to act with detachment, for the sole purpose of guiding and uplifting others. But then he addresses the great enemy that stands in the way of selfless action, desire. Arjuna asks a critical question: what is it that impels a person to sin, even against their own will? Krishna gives a definitive answer. It is lust, it is desire, born of the mode of passion, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Just as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as an embryo is covered by the womb. The living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. He explains that this insatiable desire clouds our wisdom and traps us. Its strongholds are the senses, the mind, and the intelligence. The only way to conquer this enemy, Krishna concludes, is to control the senses through spiritual strength, and to understand that the self, the Atma, is superior to the senses, the mind, and even the intelligence. Modern Reflection 1. Finding purpose in your paycheck. Krishna's teaching on karma yoga is a direct antidote to the modern crisis of meaning in our work. So many people feel a profound disconnect between their daily job and any sense of higher purpose. Work becomes a transaction, a means to a paycheck, a way to pay the bills. This often leads to burnout, cynicism, and a feeling of being a cog in a machine. Krishna's concept of jnana offers a radical reframing. It asks us to see our work not just as something we do for ourselves, but as our offering to the world. It shifts the question from what can I get to what can I give. A software developer isn't just writing code. She's building a tool that connects people. A sanitation worker isn't just collecting trash, is maintaining public health and the beauty of a city. A teacher isn't just lecturing. She is awakening the minds of the next generation. A leader who practices this is not a boss, but a servant to their team's success and well-being. This is leadership with inner discipline. This mindset doesn't require you to change your job. It requires you to change the consciousness with which you perform it. When you see your work as a selfless offering, every task, no matter how small, becomes sacred. The great enemy Krishna speaks of selfish desires, what keeps us trapped in the transactional mindset. But by dedicating our action to something larger than ourselves, we break free. We find dignity, purpose, and spiritual connection right in the middle of our 9-to-5 lives.
Having established the supreme importance of selfless action, Krishna now reveals the ancient origins of this sacred wisdom. He explains that this is not a new teaching, but a timeless truth that is periodically lost and must be restored. I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciple succession, but in course of time the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. Arjuna, hearing this, is perplexed. Krishna is his contemporary, his friend. How could he have possibly instructed the sun god who existed millions of years before? He asks, The sun god is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Krishna's reply is one of the most famous and important passages in the Gita. He reveals his true divine nature as the unborn, imperishable Lord of all beings. Many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, I still appear in every millennium in my original form. He then explains the precise purpose of his divine incarnation, his descent as an avatar into the material world. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear, millennium after millennium. He continues, stating that one who understands the divine nature of his appearance and activities does not take birth again upon leaving the body, but attains his eternal abode. He has shown the path, and now he explains how to walk it. He returns to the subject of action, but now links it inextricably with knowledge. This is Jnana Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of acting with the wisdom that the self is the true non-doer. He speaks a paradoxical verse that contains the essence of this teaching. One who sees inaction in action, and action in inaction, is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. What does this mean? Inaction in action means that while the body and senses are performing actions, the enlightened person knows that their true self, the Atma, is merely a silent witness and does nothing. Action in inaction means that even when someone is sitting still, appearing to do nothing, the forces of nature are still acting upon them, and their mind is still active. The wise person understands these subtle truths. Krishna declares that the fire of this divine knowledge is the ultimate purifier. Just as a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. He concludes the chapter by urging Arjuna to arm himself with this knowledge which cuts asunder the doubts of the heart, and to arise and fight.
Modern reflection 2. Knowledge that sets you free. Krishna. Yes. Declaration that knowledge is the ultimate purifier is a powerful message in our modern information age. We are drowning in data, in facts, in opinions, but we are often starved for true wisdom, the kind of knowledge that transforms who we are. The Gita distinguishes between information aparavidya and wisdom paravidya. Information is knowing what, wisdom is knowing who you are. The first can get you a job, the second can give you a life. First is external, the second is an internal realization. The teaching to see in action is a powerful tool against the tyranny of success and failure. In our careers, we often swing between the ego of, I did this, and the despair of I failed. This wisdom allows us to step back. Yes, the body and mind that you call I performed the action, but your true eternal self was the silent witness. This creates a healthy psychological distance. You can engage passionately in your work, but your self-worth is no longer on the line with every outcome. You are free from the burden of being the doer. This is not a justification for apathy. It is a source of fearless action, when you are not afraid of failure and not grasping for the glory of success. You can act with incredible clarity, creativity, and courage. You can take risks, speak truth to power, and innovate, because your core being is not invested in the result. This is the ultimate form of mindfulness and inner discipline, to act with full engagement while knowing in the quiet center of your being that you are the peaceful, unchanging witness to it all.
Arjuna's confusion is so relatable. Should I quit my stressful job, leave my complicated life, and move to the mountains to find peace? This is the modern fantasy of renunciation. We believe that to find peace we must change our external circumstances. Krishna's answer is a powerful course correction. He says that true renunciation is not about what you do, but about your inner state of being while you do it. Running away from your duties without having purified your mind is useless. You will simply take your restless mind with you to the mountains. The more effective and more courageous path is to practice renunciation within the context of your life. This is internal renunciation. It means renouncing your attachment to outcomes, renouncing your need for approval, renouncing the anger you feel when things don't go your way, renouncing the ego's desire to always be right. This is the path of the urban yogi. You can be a parent, a CEO, an artist, a student, and still be a true renunciate. You fulfill your responsibilities with love and excellence, but you are not defined by them. And the result of this inner work is the equal vision Krishna describes. In a world that is increasingly polarized, this teaching is a powerful call to empathy. It asks us to look past the external labels of race, religion, social status, and political affiliation, and to see the shared spark of consciousness within every person. It is a practical path to cultivating compassion, not as a sentimental feeling, but as a profound state of wisdom.
Having explained the philosophies of action and knowledge, Krishna now provides Arjuna with a practical technique to achieve the steady mind required for both. Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation. It begins by defining a true yogi, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. He then gives clear step-by-step instructions for the practice of meditation, a timeless guide for any seeker. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deerskin and a soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high nor too low. The yogi should then sit on it very firmly and practice yoga to purify the heart by controlling his mind, senses and activities, and fixing the mind on one point. One should hold one's body, its neck and head erect in a straight line, and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. He emphasizes the importance of moderation. A yogi, he says, is not one who eats too much or too little, sleeps too much or too little. The path is one of balance. The goal of this practice, he explains, is to achieve a state of perfect tranquility. He gives a beautiful analogy. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendent self. Hearing this description of a perfectly controlled mind, Arjuna expresses a very human, very honest doubt. It is perhaps the most relatable moment in the entire Gita. O Krishna, this system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Krishna does not dismiss Arjuna's concern. He agrees that the mind is incredibly difficult to control, but he says it is not impossible. He provides the twofold secret to taming the mind. O mighty armed son of Kanti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. But it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. The two Sanskrit words Krishna uses are abhyasa practice and virajya detachment. Abhyasa means consistent, patient, long-term effort. It's the act of gently bringing the mind back again and again, 1,000 times when it wanders. Virajya is the spirit of letting go of the thoughts that distract us, and letting go of the frustration we feel when we get distracted. Arjuna, now reassured, asks one final question. What happens to the sincere seeker who begins the path, but due to a worldly mind or premature death, does not achieve perfection? Is all their effort wasted? Krishna gives a wonderfully comforting and hopeful answer. O son of Pritha, a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. He explains that the unsuccessful yogi, after enjoying a period of heavenly reward, is reborn into a family of the righteous or the wealthy. Or, if they are even more advanced, they are born into a family of great yogis. There, they automatically revive the divine consciousness of their previous life and begin their journey anew from where they left off. No spiritual effort is ever lost. He concludes the chapter by declaring the supreme status of the yogi. A yogi is greater than the ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, O Arjuna, in all circumstances, be a yogi. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. Arjuna's cry that controlling the mind is like trying to control the wind is the universal sentiment of every person who has ever tried to meditate. We sit down, close our eyes, and are immediately hit by a hurricane of thoughts, plans, worries, and memories. Our first instinct is to think, I'm no good at this. My mind is too crazy. Krishna's response is the most compassionate and practical advice ever given on meditation. It says, in essence, yes, it's hard. I know, but it's not impossible. His solution is timeless. Practice and detachment. Practice is the commitment to show up, even for just 5 minutes a day. It's the gentle but firm discipline of returning your attention to your breath or a mantra over and over without judgment. It is a workout for your attention muscle. Detachment is the radical act of treating your thoughts like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to follow every cloud. You don't have to get angry that there are clouds. You just notice them and let them go. This is the heart of mindfulness. And perhaps most beautifully, Krishna's promise that no effort is ever wasted is a profound comfort. Every time you sit to meditate, even if it feels like a failure, you are planting a seed. Every moment of awareness you cultivate is a victory. The spiritual journey is not a pass-fail exam. It is a gradual process of becoming. In a world that demands instant results, the Gita teaches us the forgotten virtue of patient, persistent practice. It assures us that every step we take on the path of self-mastery, no matter how small, is a step that can never be taken away.